The Xbox Showcase is tomorrow, and I want to go over my final predictions and expectations for it. So, really quick before we get into that, though, I will be co-streaming this event. I like to go live about an hour or so before the event starts, so look forward to that, or if you want to watch it live with me, I would love to have you and hope to see you guys there tomorrow. I think this is going to be a fantastic show. I really do. Now, I said that for the PlayStation Showcase, and I'm not a console warrior. I don't want to get into that BS, but I will say, I think I got myself a little too excited for the PlayStation Showcase that greatly, I think, disappointed me. I don't think the Xbox Showcase is going to do that. I do think they are honestly going to nail it, but I've been wrong before, so just want to check myself on that one. But they have the potential to do a lot of different things. So let's go over some things that I think are kind of slam dunks, and then we'll kind of talk about some things that I think hopefully maybe are there, or maybe they're not going to be there. So for me personally, Hellblade 2, that is a massive one. I think it's got to be there, to be honest with you, and I think you need the release date for it, especially if it comes out this year, right? Maybe if it comes out next year, you give kind of like a window, but I do think Hellblade 2 is absolutely a lock to be there. And I would say the same thing for Avowed. I think Avowed is going to be there. I am less certain on a release date for Avowed, just because I think that will come after Hellblade 2, but that should be a lock. We should see gameplay for it. We've already heard, right? A big theme with this show, and it was taking shots at Sony, but it is what it is. No CG only trailers, right? So it's going to have some in-engine stuff. It would have to have some gameplay. They're not just going to show a 1.5 minute CG trailer and that's it, which is great, and that's how the industry should do things, but they don't. So you got that. No movie trailers. Well, that one's a funny little jab, right? Now, obviously, there's not really anything you could do unless you did like a Halo TV show thing, which, let's be honest, nobody wants that. So we're safe there, right? It looks like the stage is already set where when we see things, we should actually see the game that's being shown to us, which is a very good sign. Obviously, you got Starfield, and to quickly talk about Starfield, there's a lot of stuff they absolutely have to do. I think just reconfirm the release date, which is an easy one, but start to show, and they need to do this in a long stretch of time, which they're giving themselves time to do so. Lots of gameplay. Show the different systems. Show us talking to people. Show us doing part of a side quest. Show us making a decision on something. Show us flying. Show us doing a space battle. Just a whole boatload. I mean, the game comes out in 3 months, right? Very, very quick. I mean, it's not a quick turnaround because they're not just revealing it for the first time, but from the time that we're going to see a massive amount of stuff on this game to when the game comes out is slightly less than 3 months. Forza obviously will be there as well. I'm not too big into that, so I don't really have any strong opinions on it, but I just wanted to throw that out there in case people thought that I didn't know about it or whatever. More far out ones, and this is where it gets kind of tricky, right? The kind of group of like State of Decay, State of Decay 3, you got things like Fable. Now, Fable, I do think is there. This one's tough because when you think about their far out games, I don't think all of them are going to be there, even though they did say that the 12-month thing is no longer, applicable, which is fine by me. Fable has been teased. I just can't imagine you don't do something Fable at this show. Now, again, I'm kind of 50-50. Like, we very much believe that the collection that's been talked about with Xbox, right, is going to be Gears. Phil Spencer had said, collection. I guess he didn't say Gears of War, right? I do think that is probably there. But when it comes to Fable, do you get a Fable collection? Like, is that also something that's happening after the Gears one? Is that what they would be showing? Or are we literally talking the Fable game that's probably still 2-3 years out, or maybe even longer, right? Like, is that the one that we're going to see? Again, if it is, then we would need to see in-engine footage of it, which would be quite insane, actually, if I'm thinking about it right now. But hey, they teased it. I think it's going to be there. It's Fable in general. It'll be there in some way. Indiana Jones, I want. The more time goes on, I think it's not going to be there. Contraband, we've heard rumors about, maybe it's delayed internally. Maybe development isn't going so great. So I highly doubt you would see something there. I do think, obviously, you're going to have a couple surprises. Now, the issue with surprises, like announcements of new games, is that we don't know what they are, right? So it is hard to predict them. But maybe like a Gears 6, like a very early concept thing. But again, tough, because Gears 6 would probably be a prime candidate to just show like a CG trailer. So if you're not going to just show a CG trailer, I don't know if Gears 6 would kind of make that, you know what I mean? But I do think there'd be one or two big, huge, brand new announcements of games. I think this could very well be where we get the Persona announcements, so 3 remake as well as the 5 spin-off game. That's another thing, Game Pass. I said this with Sony, I would say the exact same thing with Xbox. Although I'm not a console warrior, I play games where they are. I don't care where they are. But when you have a conference for your company and your platform, you would expect most things to be probably exclusive, to be honest with you, right? I think you go into these shows expecting, okay, a lot of these things are going to end up just on this platform. Oftentimes they don't, but I think that should probably always be the goal with these things. So I do think Game Pass is obviously going to be a huge thing. I'd hope, and I kind of want them to have a couple big gets. I don't think like the Alan Wakes of the world, like things that are already announced, Assassin's Creed, Mortal Kombat, those kind of games, I don't think they would be on Game Pass. But is Persona 3's remake, would that be a Game Pass game, right? If they announce a game that we haven't seen yet that's still coming in the fall, maybe like an Avatar. Now I know Avatar, Ubisoft, and also they may have an exclusive thing with PlayStation. I'm just throwing it out as an example, right? So something that's coming in the fall that we haven't seen too in depth yet, if they can do something or if they show something like that, it's third party, yeah, it's not exclusive to them, but then they can say it's coming out on Game Pass, right? That's kind of what I'm expecting. So I think it's going to be a great show. I think it's going to be a show of a lot of updates, which is necessary because they, a couple of years ago, they announced this whole wave of games, which is good, and they need to obviously do that every so often, but then you got to provide updates to them. And I think some of these games, again, like the potential State of Decay 3, and even like a Stalker 2, like is that going to be there a highlight? Now, Stalker 2 is a very unique situation with what's going on over there, but some of these games that were announced a long time ago, I still don't think we're going to see them, which is still kind of troubling. But I think a lot of them we are going to get updates. Avowed, right? Hellblade 2. I think that's where this show is going to shine. And then you announce another wave. I don't think you announce a wave as big as what you already did. Maybe you announce 3 or 4 other things that are kind of like coming up. And then, you think about next year and you start giving updates on the things you announced a few years ago and kind of snowball from there. So let me know what you guys predict for the show tomorrow. Make sure you're subscribed. Hope to see you guys on the live stream, and I'll talk to you soon.